Well, hello, folks out there in YouTube land. Got a very interesting show for you today. Yep, the chickens come home to roost, and sometimes that's a good thing, sometimes that's a really bad thing. The big winners and losers, and you can already tell from one weekend who made all the right choices in the offseason and who made the wrong choices. And we're going to get all into that. We're going to start out with Kentucky. I got to tell you, I was really pleased not only with how they played, but they picked up Brock Vandagriff in the offseason, the backup to Carson Beck, who was a 5-star. It was really close between Carson Beck and Brock as far as who the starter was going to be, which meant he had to be really good. And Kentucky didn't sit on their hands. They went and got the guy, period. And Mark Stoops had decided, I've got to have a big-time quarterback, and they paid what they needed to pay, and they got him. And he was a backup. So there was some risk to that, but I don't think very much. Now, they won the game against Southern Miss 31-0, but realize this got called in the middle of the third quarter, so it's hard to know what the true numbers would have been. But as you can see, Brock Vandagriff was 12 for 18, 169 yards in well less than 3 quarters, 3 touchdowns, 1 INT, had an excellent QBR. He looked the part. He is very confident with that arm, and he's got a big arm, and he's quite accurate. I think they're going to be super pleased with this guy. And when you make the right moves in the offseason, you get to enjoy it in the regular season. And I know nobody wants to talk about the offseason. Those are the most important times. You've got to stock the shelves with the right products. And Kentucky did a really good job. And I'm sure Nick Roush is thrilled right now at Kentucky Sports Radio. He's got to be so happy.
This is his one really bad thing. The stupid stat about beating teams with a winning record and taking the next step and blah, blah. Just freaking beat Tennessee. Please, can we just stop losing to this stupid team with their stupid orange colors, and their stupid song, and their woo, woo, get their woo on out of here.
Well, he may still be upset about Tennessee, but you're going to get your chance this year at Neyland. Be sure to give us a reaction after the game. But I got to say, Mark Stoops is one of the winners. All right, now we're going to get into a loser. And you know where I'm going with this. Shane Beamer at South Carolina. They lost, obviously, Spencer Rattler to the NFL last year, which made sense. He was ready to go. And he's an NFL-level quarterback. And picking him up 2 years ago was a good move. This year, they decided to go with a 3-star and not bother with the transfer portal. They did pick up, Robbie Ashford or whatever from Auburn, who was a backup over there that had struggled. He did not look good. I told you really for the last several months that he was risking everything on this offseason and going with a 3-star who is a great athlete. I'm telling you, the North Sellers is a great athlete. He's not a quarterback yet. His throwing fundamentals are not there and his footwork's not there, and it was pretty obvious. I saw it in the spring game, and how these million-dollar coaches didn't see that. He needs to be developed. He's a redshirt freshman. He's not ready. And when you look at these numbers, this was against Old Dominion, the trucking company. Lenoris was 10 for 23 with a QBR of 17.7 against a trucking company. You got to be kidding me, Frank. Jeez, that is just, it is what it is. He's not ready. He's a really good runner of the ball. He's intelligent. I think he could turn into a good quality quarterback, but he needs to be developed, and they just either didn't develop him or they didn't have enough time. And Shane Beamer has put his job on the line with this young man, and his backup, I just don't see it happening. This is going to be a really rough year. You lost in the offseason, and now you're going to lose in the real season. He's a loser, and the chickens have come home to roost for the Gamecocks, which is ironic. All right, now we're going to have the biggest winner of the offseason, and that is the Miami Hurricanes with picking up Cam Ward. They looked fantastic. They beat Florida down. I mean, beat them down at the Swamp, which is not easy to do.
And then depression set in.
That was just a shocking victory, and it was never even close. Miami just bullied them the whole game, and Cam Ward looked like he was putting on a clinic out there. I've never seen anybody so relaxed. He did everything but read the evening paper in the backfield, waiting for somebody to get open. And then he would just sidearm it to him, touchdown. And then he'd go over and get himself another glass of tea and get ready to read the rest of the paper. And Miami pured it in the offseason. They went and got Cam Ward from Washington State, and what a great pickup he was. They're going to be enjoying this all year. They are now the favorite to win the ACC, to get a bye in the 12-team playoff. And I know it's early on, but if he stays healthy and that as loaded as Miami is, that's going to be a heck of a ball club. Their offensive line is strong. If you'll remember, they had 2 5-stars 2 years ago that they picked up during recruiting, and now those benefits are starting to show themselves. As a matter of fact, my Vols lost out on a player that we thought we were going to get. He came from Hawaii, and he picked Miami over us, and it was close. But you look at his numbers, he was 26-35, threw for almost 400 yards, 385, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception, QBR at 95.7. Wow, that is strong. So you can definitely put them down as one of the winners of the offseason, the winner, honestly. And when the chickens came home to roost for them, it was roasted chicken with an herb sauce. And now, unfortunately, for Florida State, who I have a lot in common with them, Florida State and we don't like Florida Gators. And I know they love that game. I was talking to TJ from Double Fries, No Slaw, and he actually went to the game. And I know he enjoyed it thoroughly. But Florida State, I'm sorry, y'all are one of the losers from the offseason. You went and you got DJ Ungagale, or ukulele, whatever you want to call it. We'll just call him DJ. And you got beat by Georgia Tech. And Georgia Tech's an up-and-coming team. I didn't realize that Georgia Tech had some success against Florida State over the last 10 years. I just assumed Florida State handled them because Georgia Tech's really been kind of an afterthought in engineering school. But DJ did not look good in that game at all. He looked very uncomfortable. He was not accurate, and they were trying to run the ball. Well, Georgia Tech said, hey, throw all you want because we don't think he can do it, and we'll just stop the run, which is what they did, and that stopped Florida State. Had they had Cam Ward, that game goes completely different. Sorry, Georgia Tech fans, but it would have. You can see it was 19 for 27, 193. It looks better than it was. He was not accurate, and decision-making was a little bit suspect. He made a couple of nice tosses at the end of the game, but you could tell they didn't have confidence in him at Florida State. The coaches weren't making a lot of calls for some long passes during most of the game, except towards the very end, and Georgia Tech was not respecting him at all. And they wound up winning the game, and Georgia Tech kind of bullied them a little bit, too, on the offensive and defensive lines, which surprised me. They ran the ball beautifully. 190 yards Georgia Tech got on Florida State, which really surprising because Florida State's known for their defensive line. That just didn't happen. But unfortunately, Florida State, I've got to say you're one of the losers from the offseason. You at least went out and you got a quarterback, but you made the wrong choice. You should have known better when you saw him struggle at Clemson that he was not the right choice for you guys. Had you gone after Cam Ward and gotten him, this would be a very different situation, or if you'd have gotten Brock Vandagriff. That was a couple of players that I think you should have got all in on. This will never happen again for Norvell. They have money at Florida State. This will not happen again. You'll get the right guy next time. You're going to go probably 8-4, 9-3, which is going to be disappointing because you're a much better club than that, but that's what's going to happen. So anyway, I did want to cover this today, the winners, the losers from the offseason, because look at the impact it's had on the regular season. You're already seeing it. And I know it's only one game, but look, I've been watching quarterbacks for 50 years, and there is no more important position, especially these days with all the changes in the rules. You can't have a pedestrian quarterback and expect to win anymore. He's got to be the straw that stirs the drink, period. If he's not, you're going to struggle. And the offseason for these clubs, it won't happen again for Norvell and Beamer. It's not going to matter because I think you'll be gone after this year. And Miami's going to enjoy this season. And I think Kentucky will too. I think Mark Stoops made a really good choice with Brock Vandagriff, a very good choice. Anyway, I just thought I would cover this today because not a lot of people are talking about the offseason anymore, which is understandable, but it still matters. If you like this content, be sure to hit that like button. Lets me know we continue to cover all these big sports stories. If you've not subscribed, boom, 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 hit that little button. Won't cost you a dime. And right over here is the most recent video that YouTube thinks you'll enjoy. And we'll see you next time on Sports Talk Jay.